It ain't summer if there's no disaster porn movie without The Rock flexing his big ass muscles. What more can you want in life? Okay, so San Andreas. San Andreas stars Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who plays a search and rescue helicopter pilot, and what he does is pretty self-explanatory. He goes around and saves people in need of help. And the movie takes place near the San Andreas fault line, which is an extremely notorious spot in California for having huge earthquakes. When that finally gives out, it causes an earthquake above a 9.0 magnitude, spreading massive amounts of damage throughout the state. This results in The Rock's family being in danger, so now it's up to The Rock to save his family before bigger and powerful earthquakes arrive. Now, San Andreas has some of the worst trailers I've seen for a summer blockbuster. Nothing was really screaming at me saying that I need to see this movie. Besides The Rock being in it, I mean, that's the only reason. Not only that, but this movie is directed by Brad Peyton, the same guy who directed Journey to the Mysterious Island and Cats and Dogs 2. Cats and Dogs 2, like the movie that no one ever asked for. This guy doesn't have a good record at all. Needless to say, wasn't too excited, but after walking out of this movie, I liked it way more than I thought I would, which was weird. Because in a disaster movie, they're supposed to give you characters that you care about since you want them to survive through this catastrophic event. And for the most part, they give you just that, unlike 2012 where John Cusack was a struggling writer and you just wanted him and his family to die. Since The Rock is someone who actually rescues people in the movie, it establishes his character well enough to where you root for him and you want him to save his family. And he does a great job as the lead, carrying this well-made disaster film. Carla Gugino was in there. I really liked her as The Rock's estranged wife. They're going through a divorce and shit. Paul Giamatti plays a seismologist who gives us the science behind how these earthquakes function and how powerful these earthquakes can be. But one character that extremely surprised me was this girl named Alexandra Daddario. I think that's how you say her name. She may be one of my favorite characters other than The Rock in this movie, of course, because I swear every time a hot girl shows up in these types of films, it seems like she has to be Michael Bayified. They take a hot girl, have countless amounts of ass shots, and have her be useless in the film. That's Michael Bayified. Not her though. She did stuff throughout the film, proving to everybody, including me, that she's more than just a pretty face. Not gonna lie though, she was great to look at, having her personality bounce around everywhere. She was awesome. The film plays their characters safe, and you can tell because you've seen characters like these 100 times before in disaster movies. The way they're introduced and developed, it's extremely formulaic, so these characters aren't groundbreaking. It can be a negative for some. And that's really the beauty of these films. Even though they play it safe, they find a way for it to make it work through the characters you care about, the visuals, and all around popcorn fun. And speaking of visuals, they looked really cool in this movie, giving us this catastrophic terror that is happening in California. Again, it's one of those movies where you sit back, turn your brain off, and just watch shit fall down and explode. Don't go in to expect some riveting, thought-provoking story that deeply explores the human psyche or some shit. That's just stupid. Just sit back and enjoy the visual rape you're about to get. But this movie had some surprising elements mixed in with all this enjoyable nonsense. For example, the cinematography and directing. There were a couple scenes that made me go, that's a really good looking shot. One scene I absolutely cannot get out of my head was this entire one-shot scene where it was following the event of an earthquake, and it was almost terrifying to a degree. But it just shows that Brad Peyton didn't half-ass the direction. You really felt like he cared about the way it looked. Looks can be great, but sometimes it could be plagued by a couple bit of pacing issues. It sometimes overstays its welcome with certain characters where it loses focus of The Rock's mission of saving his daughter. It's like, come on, I want to get more of The Rock. I want to see The Rock drop the rock bottom on somebody, causing this 9.0 earthquake. Doesn't happen in the movie, but if it did, I would totally buy it. The final act was a bit cliched, but it didn't dock huge points down. It could have been done better though. So in the end, San Andreas was a fun popcorn theater experience with good characters, great visuals, and directing. Nothing in this movie was groundbreaking. It doesn't really bring anything new to this type of franchise. It just plays it very safe. A negative for some, but for others, not so much. It just depends how you take it. But if you want to go in this movie paying what you want to see, then you'll get exactly that. Because I say San Andreas is definitely worth the matinee price. I would even say full admission if you had some buddies with you. Have you seen San Andreas? What did you think about it? Whatever your thoughts are, leave a comment below. And as always, there's a link for my Twitter and my Facebook in the description as well. Keep in contact with me. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. But in the meantime, I have to get going since it is time for me to make my rock exit because...
If you smell what The Rock is cooking.